Hey folks, it's Mary Shear from Northern Gardener magazine and the My Northern Garden blog. Welcome to My Northern Garden. I'm sitting outside and am looking forward to talking with you a bit more about garden trends for 2020 and beyond. It's been a very strange time. I appreciate your willingness to try this unusual method of talking about gardens, and I hope you feel free to comment in the comments below or email me directly to talk a little more. I'm really looking forward to next year, where I hope we can meet in more normal times and under better circumstances. So thanks again for accommodating this, and I'm going to turn the camera around and go to the slides. Thanks so much. Well, thank you again for inviting me to talk about garden trends for 2020 and beyond. And frankly, given the past few months, I'm not sure anyone should be making predictions about anything. But I'm going to try to talk a little bit about trends. And many of the trends I'm going to mention have been developing over several years. Others are new and, of course, related to COVID-19. For plant people, I want to focus on the plants that reflect each trend, plants that you can probably grow in your own garden. So let's start with the big one. Because of COVID-19, it's estimated that there were 16 million or more new gardeners in 2020. When the lockdown went into effect in March, many garden companies braced themselves for a terrible year. I know because I had conversations with garden centers and nursery owners several times, and they were really worried about what the year would hold for them. Well, they were pleasantly surprised because of all of the new people that got into gardening. It was a terrific year to own a garden center. Burpees, for example, the seed company, sold more seed in March than it had ever sold in any month in its 144-year history. On April 5th of 2020, the term Victory Garden was searched more on Google than any term ever before. So and these garden centers had a great year. Now, for home gardeners, it was a bit of a shock, because this is what we found. Empty shelves? What? Plants all sold? I've never seen nurseries so picked over as I did in 2020. And I know some of that is because groups like yours were forced to cancel their sales. They were not able to hold the normal sales. So COVID-19 did not affect everyone in horticulture equally. It was very tough on groups like master gardeners, nonprofit garden clubs, and frankly the Hort Society, because they had to cancel events and sales and fundraisers and classes and all of the things we do that bring gardeners together, because there was no bringing anyone together this year. But the good news is that going forward, we have a lot more people interested in gardening. And now we have to keep them, because this is what many new gardeners, especially vegetable gardeners, think their gardens are going to look like. They're ready for this. And this is what they get. What? That's, blossom end rot and anthracnose and assorted other diseases. So here's my prediction. In 2021, more gardeners will be looking for advice and guidance on how to make their next garden even better. And I think people have discovered that it's really not that bad being at home all the time, that it's kind of fun to do cooking and gardening, and that most domestic activities are pretty relaxing. And this is something that groups like yours may want to consider. How can we help young and new gardeners? I know the folks at the Hort Society are working on this issue and plan to have much more information geared for new gardeners in 2021. So other COVID changes for 2021 that I think we'll be seeing is, of course, more use of technology, things like videos, and more plant purchases, etc., made over, online or through other distant methods. I think nurseries will be offering more pre-packaged plant sets for new gardeners. Things like a set of tomatoes, a set of lettuces, a beginner vegetable garden, a deck-side vegetable garden. All sorts of ways to get new gardeners continuing in the journey in their garden. But I'm hoping we'll be in a position to have in-person plant sales in 2021, and frankly, if we are, prepare for a crowd. So let's